Welcome back in to the Chris Mathis podcast. I'm your host, Chris Mathis, who let the dogs out. As glad to have you guys tuned in. Big time news, all of you Georgia Bulldog fans. Finally got yourselves a natty on Monday. Big time win, 33-18 over Alabama. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was busy getting an interview with Corey Crouch, digital creator, for Talk to Him Tuesday, so I missed the entire first half. So, Spence, I'm going to have you come in and talk about the first half because I know Alabama was up 9-6 at halftime.
Yeah, so the score was 6-9 at halftime, one of the best numbers in the world. We all love to see it. Alabama missed a field goal early in the third quarter after that 9-6 halftime. A very slow start. Pretty boring game, honestly. Nakobe Dean, the Georgia linebacker, is very good. He kept them in this game. Alabama's offense just didn't seem to get anything going the entire night. Receivers were falling down on plays that should have been first downs. And Georgia got the benefit of the doubt on most plays. I mean, a lot of things went their way in this game. But then in the very end, Stetson Bennett came in, and on his final 4 passes, went 4 for 4, 83 yards and 2 touchdowns with 2 major dimes, one on a free play and one on another 30-yard bomb down the field. And he absolutely killed it in this game. Probably his last ever football game in his career. And today he was spotted at a Athens Canes getting ready for his next job opportunity. He was serving customers. And that's probably what he'll be doing 5 years from now. But, man, he won a national championship, and he dominated.
Yeah, no doubt. The guy has really lived a Cinderella story since he got to UGA and had a fantastic game. Again, they say he's listed at 180 or 190, something like that. He probably is pushing 175, but either way, big-time win, and he'll forever go down in the history books there at UGA.
And we had Kevin James playing Sean Payton in the next movie, and apparently Michael Cera from Superbad is going to be playing Stetson Bennett in the Georgia Bulldogs championship movie, so that's going to be great. They look very similar, probably similar skill sets, but in that national championship, Stetson Bennett was injected with something at halftime, maybe the super soldier serum that they injected Captain America with, and he dominated.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, what a game for Stetson Bennett, who lived really a Cinderella story. Knew from, I believe he was age 3, he told his dad, I'm going to play quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs. Ended up going to high school, under-recruited, undersized, of course. Played JUCO ball, then UGA wanted him. Kirby Smart said, hey, we want you to come to UGA.
Kirby Smart said, hey, we're going to get rid of Justin Fields for absolutely no reason. And then we're going to sign Stetson Bennett. I mean, they could have won a national championship, honestly, 2 years ago if they would have chose Justin Fields over Jake Fromm, but they didn't. And then they finally won a championship with Stetson Bennett, so it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, no doubt. And awesome stuff there for Stetson Bennett. All of the Georgia Bulldog fans, too, all excited. And you guys definitely, I hate to say it, but you earned that one. I'm not a big Bulldog fan. I kind of was on the fence about either team. I could care less who won. I wanted to see Nick Saban maybe get another one, even though I don't like the guy. He's a great coach, and I think that he showed that after the game. He talked with his former assistant, Kirby Smart, at midfield and congratulated him. Even though his team just got walloped by the Georgia Bulldogs, he was still a pretty respectable stand-up guy, and loved what I saw from Nick Saban post-game presser with his quarterback and one of his offensive weapons too. And before his players got up from the booth, from the interview, he basically said, hey, these two guys right here. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
And Georgia fans were ecstatic on that pick six. I mean, one guy was so happy he fell 8 stories down and shattered some glass, fell right under another guy. Somehow there were no injuries. Probably the stadium wanting him to say that so they don't get sued. But, yeah, I mean, it was a good game for Georgia. Nice job by Bryce Young to spot them 6 extra points in the end and make it look like more of a blowout than it was. I mean, it's 1st and 10 from midfield. Bryce Young tries to throw it deep. 2nd and 10 tries to throw it deep. 3rd down after 2 incompletions, throws it into triple coverage, and the game's over. I mean, just bad decision-making from him, and he came into the game. Everyone was talking about how calm, cool, and collected he was under pressure, but then whenever you see him under pressure, he just absolutely sold the bag. And they lost. But Nick Saban, as you said, after the game, had some nice words for him and their linebacker.
Oh, okay, yeah, linebacker. Yeah. That made the... Yeah, okay, got you. But what's weird is that he did play good under pressure a couple weeks back in the SEC championship against Georgia. This time, Georgia was just more hungry for it. And I also found it weird before the game that Alabama football players were saying, hey, we're underdogs. I'm like, oh, are you really? I mean,
the most 5-star recruits every single year.
Yeah.
I mean, they head every single draft class with at least 5 first-rounders.
And they work out in the NFL.
Yeah.
They really do. So,
unless you're a quarterback.
Yeah, Mac Jones, you got a shot. Tua, not so much. But anyways, awesome game nonetheless, whether you're a Dogs fan or a hater of the Alabama Crimson Tide. What a game, which transitions us into our Player of the Week. And, I think it's pretty simple. I think all the Dog fans would agree with me. Stetson Bennett is my Player of the Week. He went 17 of 26, 224 yards, 2 pass touchdowns, not a single turnover.
He did have one.
Oh, that's fumble. Right. Yeah, he did fumble. Yep. And it was a questionable call based upon what had happened earlier in the game with Bryce Young.
I can see why Georgia fans wouldn't like the call, but Bryce Young did have control of the ball whenever he lost it. But, the ball was literally sideways in Bennett's hand. I just think that the recovery really was the questionable part because it looked like part of his foot was out of bounds when he recovered the football. And in the NFL, that would not have been a fumble recovery. So that may be why people were so upset with the call.
Yeah, and I didn't even think that it was I thought that the ball went out of bounds anyway, so they were reviewing it. I was like, man,
even the guy that recovered it looked like he didn't think that it was a fumble.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Stetson Bennett, my Player of the Week for good reason, too, as the Georgia Bulldogs avenged their SEC title loss to Alabama from a few weeks ago as they won the game that mattered the most. As the Georgia Bulldogs prevailed over Alabama, the final scored 33-18 on Monday night. Stetson Bennett getting some recognition right here on the Chris Mathis podcast. Probably the last time we will ever mention his name unless he gets drafted. We'll shout him out then because he proved you wrong. But Spence, talk about your Player of the Week and why.
Well, my Player of the Week is Trevor Lawrence. He was down there in Clown Town on Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts, and they absolutely dismantled the Colts. No one expected it except for me, of course. And the Jaguars won and knocked the Colts out of the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence went 23 of 32 for 233 and 2 touchdowns. His best game of the season, one play, bad snap over his head. He catches it, runs backward 10 yards, and throws an absolute dot to his receiver in the end zone for a touchdown, and that was basically the end of the game. That was a nail in the coffin for the Colts, and somehow they didn't make the playoffs, which is insane with the offense that they had this year with Jonathan Taylor absolutely carrying. I just don't see how they couldn't make the playoffs this year. I guess it's got to all come down to Carson Wentz, but the Jaguars won in Clown Town with their fans dressed in clown uniforms by a lot. So a great game for Trevor Lawrence, his best of the season.
Trevor Lawrence definitely earned it, which brings us to our Am I Wrong segment. Skipped over that for a moment. No, I was not wrong, as the Seattle Seahawks prevailed over Arizona in Arizona over the weekend. That was a pretty good game. It wasn't necessarily the prettiest game for Seattle, but Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson can ride off into the sunset one last time together. Their relationship is probably done for. Their relationship and time spent in Seattle is done for. I'm calling it now. Both of those guys are out of Seattle. I think Pete Carroll goes off, retires. I don't think he gets another shot. He's in his 70s. And Russell Wilson, he just needs a fresh start. He really does. And I think that he'll get one elsewhere. Good free agent market, and he's got a lot of opportunity this year with a couple of quarterbacks that didn't really pan out for teams in their first year with the organizations, or they're kind of bailing on their rookie quarterback draft pick from a few years ago. But Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll won one last time as they beat the Arizona Cardinals in a shocker. It was my hot take last week, and Spencer's hot take was so hot, I think that he was the only guy in the nation to get that prediction right. And talk a little bit more about your hot take. If you were wrong, obviously not. I've hinted at it a few times, but talk a little bit more about your hot take and what you saw on Sunday.
Well, I'm not wrong most of the time anyways, so this one, of course, I was correct on. I wish I would have placed money on this game because the Jaguars, like I said a minute ago when I picked Trevor Lawrence as my Rookie of the Week, they absolutely dismantled the Colts, knocked them out of the playoffs. The Colts somehow lost their last 2 games of the season to the Raiders and then the Jaguars. Just sad to not see them in the playoffs, honestly. I would much rather see them than Pittsburgh or a team like that, but the Jaguars won, and my hot take was correct.
I know that you guys love to listen to the hot takes each and every week. I would say we're probably 50-50 on them at the end of the season. We'll wrap things up and talk about our overall record with hot takes and game picks. Once the football season is over, we'll bring kind of maybe a congratulatory show regarding what we got wrong and what we got right and the hot takes that we picked and the biggest hot take of the season for us right here on the podcast. But that brings us into a little bit of talk about our hot take this week. You guys want to stay tuned in for that hot take. We're going to save it for last because we have a pretty good feeling, or I have a pretty good feeling as to what Spencer's hot take might be. We'll unveil that here near the end of the show. But talking about our Rookie of the Week, there's a lot of great options this week. And I kind of looked up and down the list, and this year in the NFL, it's really been the same 5 or 6 guys. You look at Jamar Chase, Micah Parsons, who are a couple of there's a few other receivers. The receiver for the Detroit Lions has got his name out there. Mac Jones, of course, has got his name out there a few times.
Zach Wilson somehow won it.
Yeah, he did. And then also Williams, the running back for the Broncos, was in there a few times. He's very good. But this week, I'm going to go back to a guy that I've already picked this year as my Rookie of the Week. This guy earned it once more. Houston Texan quarterback Davis Mills, my Rookie of the Week. He finished out his rookie season with a star-studded performance, 301 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns in his last game, no turnovers. He finishes his rookie campaign playing in 13 games, over 2,600 passing yards with Brandon Cooks? Not bad. They've got a real carousel of lack of talent, of coaching staff there with the Houston Texans, and I think that Davis Mills has come in and done a great job. Former GAC high school standout quarterback has really been balling out for the Houston Texans. He finishes the year 16 pass touchdowns, 10 picks, but you hear that ratio, okay, not so hot. But when you think about it, the last 5 games, this guy has thrown 9 pass touchdowns to just 2 interceptions and has really had a solid QBR, probably anywhere from 23 out of 33, 35 over his last 5 weeks, each individual game. So the guy has been balling out with little to no talent around him. A coach that they obviously did not believe in there in Houston. David Culley was his name, and he got let go earlier this week. Last head coach as of the recording of this show to get fired, get canned here with this NFL football season. But Davis Mills, my Rookie of the Week, and this guy arguably has outperformed every rookie quarterback in the NFL except Mac Jones. Mac Jones may be the exception, but as of late, Davis Mills has been better, and Mac Jones obviously kind of kept on a leash, if you will, with Bill Belichick and the Patriots offense, trying to limit any potential turnovers or miscues with Mac Jones. But Davis Mills, have yourself a day. Once again, the Rookie of the Week for me right here on the Chris Mathis podcast, and brings us into Spencer's Rookie of the Week.
Well, I want to elaborate more on the Davis Mills pick. I mean, it's obvious that his biggest strength is his neck, and apparently over the last 5 weeks, he's been doing a lot more shoulder shrugs. His neck has gotten much stronger. You can see more veins in his neck, and I think that really helped him down the stretch of the season. Danny Amendola, the 5'10" receiver that used to play for Tom Brady, absolutely dominated this week, 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. Big game for him. But my player of the week, because I got these switched up, my player of the week, because I already did Rookie of the Week, is the Raiders defensive end Max Crosby. He had 2 sacks, 3 pass deflections, and he basically just terrorized Justin Herbert all game. Got him to 4th down like 18 times in this game, but the Chargers converted almost every single one of them when they needed to. And then eventually we all saw what happened at the end, but I'll elaborate a little bit more on that later in the show. But Max Crosby with 2 X's in his name, the reason that he has 2 X's in his name, Max, is because whenever he came out of the womb, his mother saw how big he was and added an extra X to his name. So Max Crosby with 2 X's, a very big guy, a stud, recovered just exactly like Darren Waller, that he had an addiction problem as well, and he recovered from that. Now he's a stud for the Raiders. So I mean, if you're a drug addict or an alcoholic, head over to the Las Vegas Raiders. If you have any football talent, they'll get you ready. Well, except for one guy.
That kind of set 2 guys.
Yeah.
The defensive back recently that got in trouble with the DUI as well. But, I read up on a story about Darren Waller. I actually watched a post-practice interview with Waller, who missed a lot of playing time since Thanksgiving, talking about a guy that had some issues with addiction and whatnot. NFL star-studded tight end. He was with the Baltimore Ravens to start off his career. Couldn't get over the alcoholism and was cut, but had raw talent. Went to the Raiders, took over, really showed out, and then was balling out the first 3 or 4 weeks this year. Got hurt just before Thanksgiving. Missed a lot of playing time, and he said that he had a tough time trying to battle and keep his mind away from the addiction and the alcohol because you can't really help it. Obviously, he is. He's doing a good job. He said that he stayed in the playbook and took advantage of showing up to practice. But that's crazy that even these athletes that we see it in AB all the time and guys like that, but even these athletes that seem to be going about their business, handling their stuff on the field, at practice, on the sidelines. They go through a lot off the field as well. And Joe Mancuso and I talked about that a few weeks ago on Talk to Him Tuesday, and he plugged mental health and how important that is. But obviously, Darren Waller, phenomenal player. He's not our Stooge of the Week. When I say our Stooge of the Week, it's really your Stooge of the Week, and I kind of go along with it, except I guess a few weeks ago I had an option. We had two different picks. But Spence, I mean, we got to insert the clown noise, the clown effects right now. Who is our Stooge of the Week? And elaborate as to why, because I can't recall one Stooge off the top of my head from this week.
Well, the Stooge of the Week this week is Chargers head coach Brandon Staley.
Ooh.
The two teams could have tied and made the playoffs. It's third down. It's second down. The Raiders run it for a gain of 5. It ends up being 3rd and 4, 30 seconds left. The Raiders are showing no urgency at midfield to get to the line, and then the Chargers head coach calls a timeout, and the Raiders run for a first down right after that. The reason he said he called the timeout is because he wanted to get his run defense on the field for that play, and they got gashed by Josh Jacobs for a 15-yard gain on that third down and then moved the Raiders into field goal range. But I really do think the Raiders were playing for a tie so both teams could make the playoffs. In that scenario, we wouldn't have to watch Big Ben in the playoffs. But instead, Staley calls a timeout for absolutely no reason, and it costs the Chargers a playoff appearance this year.
Yeah, we're unfortunately going to have to watch Ben Roethlisberger in the playoffs. That guy has, I can't even say it's a noodle arm. I don't even think this guy can't put anything under a ball. He can't muster any power underneath the ball.
Well, he plays at Heinz Field, so you can't expect him to be able to muster anything.
Yeah. So that would probably affect their partnership there with Heinz. But
yeah,
one thing that I do like about the Steelers is T.J. Watt is an absolute animal. He missed 2 games this year and tied the all-time record.
He should have broke it too. The NFL stat keepers really did hurt him. I mean, he touched the quarterback that fell, and they didn't even count it as a half a sack, and it was a loss of 5 on the play. I don't understand how that happened, so he should have broke the record.
Well, he finishes the regular season with 22.5 sacks, which is stellar, and I don't know how the guy does it, but he could be a true X factor against the Chiefs. Not saying that they will win this game, but, I mean, if this guy gets 3 sacks, somehow does what Tampa Bay did to Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl back in February, 11 months ago, there's actually a shot as long as Big Ben can maybe put up 21 points, 28 points probably with how powerful the Chiefs' offense is. But I don't know. I'm not going to say they're completely out of this game. Transitioning now to the Big Three, this segment brought to you by Information on Demand. Information on Demand, pre-employment screening services offering fast, accurate, and affordable background screening services. Whether you need criminal background checks, drug screenings, E-Verify, academic accreditations, or other screening services, they've got you covered. You can rest easy knowing a highly trained search team will be able to get you the information you need in 8 hours or less. That's right, just 8 hours or less. Information on Demand. Again, fast, accurate, and affordable. Just like the Big Three, fast, accurate, and affordable pre-employment background screening services. Give them a call today, 855-914-4636. That's 855-914-4636, or visit informationondemand.net, bringing you guys the Big Three each and every week right here on TCM Pod.
Yeah, and EDP, if you are listening, EDP445, reach out to that company and maybe get your life back together.
EDP. Not sure who that is, but anyways, moving on now with our Big Three. Patriots will take on the Bills this week for the 3rd time this year. They're split 1-1. The first time we saw these two teams go at it head-to-head, the Patriots squeaked one out. Mac Jones threw 3 pass attempts in this win. It was a very snowy, wet, windy day at Gillette Stadium. The Patriots win 14-10, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That first matchup. Then a few weeks later, the Bills absolutely murder Mac Jones. I think they win 33-14 or 17, something along that line. So when you think about it, the Patriots have been beaten not both times, but have been beaten badly when they played against the Bills. The Bills had tough luck with the weather at Gillette Stadium the first time around. So, with that being said, who comes into this game as the underdog? It's a split. Buffalo Bills are the home team. That's kind of the coin toss here. Bills are a 3.5-point favorite here at home on Saturday Night Football. Kickoff at 8:15 this Saturday. I don't know. I still like the potential of the Bills, but again, you're taking on Bill Belichick. I don't know. You got any, before we make our picks here, Spence, you have any more analysis regarding this game?
Well, the weather in Buffalo on Saturday night is supposed to be sub 10-degree temperatures, so I'm not liking Mac Jones' chances in this one. He
was wearing a, not a scuba suit.
Yeah.
Okay. He wore a scuba suit the first time and did okay.
Not really.
3 pass attempts. Yeah. But it wasn't on him. I don't know.
It's obvious that I guess they don't trust his arm strength to dice through the wind, so it's going to be a lot of running. Maybe their only opportunity is if Buffalo comes into that game like they did in the first matchup and just doesn't expect the Patriots to run. I mean, that's the only way that they're going to win this game is if they can run all over the Bills' defense. But the Bills' secondary is top-notch, top 5 in the league. So if Mac Jones is forced to pass late in the game, I expect the Bills to win this one.
Bills 11-6, Patriots 10-7. This is the one game I would say that this one and then the 49ers and Rams? No, 49ers and Dallas. That's the other game that you need to watch. Those 2 games are must-watches for any football fan. Again, the Bills play the Patriots at home this Saturday, 8:15 kickoff. Do not miss it. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think Josh Allen dominates. He needs to. He needs to carry this team because this team is very dangerous. Once they get in the playoffs, I feel like this roster, besides the rushing attack, which will eventually catch up to them before it's all said and done this year, they have one of the worst ground and pound offenses in the league other than Josh Allen. He's really I think he might be their leading rusher this year. Josh Allen has to ball out in all phases, taking care of the football, throwing down the field, trying to find Stephon Diggs, of course, his tight end is solid as well, and he has to run the ball too. So I think that the Buffalo Bills win this game. Give me 24-18. Buffalo Bills prevail over the New England Patriots on Saturday in the first big game of the playoffs here in the NFL.
Yeah, I've got Bills by 10+ in this game. I just don't think the Patriots are going to be able to keep up with the Bills' passing attack. And last year, the Buccaneers were one of the worst teams running the football heading into the playoffs and ended up averaging like 100 yards a game every single playoff game with Leonard Fournette. So maybe Devin Singletary can pick it up in the playoffs like Fournette did last year and help the Bills out.
I don't know. I mean, at least Fournette was trying to prove something, and they had a good offensive line. I guess the Buffalo Bills do. No, they actually don't have a great offensive line. It's a little bit of everything. If you watch Josh Allen, he's trying to get out of the pocket quick and take off with the football, and he's had some big games running the football. He needs to do so this week as well in order for the Bills to pick up a playoff victory over the New England Patriots. Item number 2 on our Big 3, Spence, San Francisco 49ers at the Dallas Cowboys. Again, another coin toss. The home team has the advantage of a 3-point spread. Roughly 3 or 4 hours ago, it was 3.5 points. So something there changed the minds of Vegas, as now they say it's a 3-point favorite for the Dallas Cowboys over the San Francisco 49ers. I think it comes down to which Dak Prescott we get in this game. Are we getting a primed Dak Prescott that we saw for most of last season before his injury, or are we getting a Dak Prescott we see every other week in the NFL this year? If Dak Prescott plays up to his capability or what everybody says, and again, they say that Dallas has so many superstars. They do have some great talent, don't get me wrong. But if Ezekiel Elliott is on any other team in the NFL, well, not any, but 25 other teams in the NFL, he is not a superstar by any means. A few weeks back, he had 14 yards rushing. So I don't know. I think that Dallas has to play peak football. They have to play their best. I know San Francisco is getting back some key players from injury, and I would like to see Jimmy G prove me wrong and show they can show up in a big-time game. And I hope the 49ers win, because I think down the road, I'd rather play the 49ers than the Dallas Cowboys if I'm Tampa Bay. Tom Brady, we already saw them play against Dallas earlier in the year. Week 1, we squeaked out a victory, but I don't know. I don't want to see them again.
Well, Jimmy G basically had a great game at the end of the game this week against the Rams. He helped them win this game. I mean, in the fourth quarter, they needed a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. They got it, went to overtime, and ended up winning the game. Deebo Samuel with another big performance. So I think the 49ers have a chance, but I'm going to have to stick with the home team here. I think the Cowboys are going to win at AT&T Stadium over the 49ers by a good amount, honestly, because of Micah Parsons. Trayvon Diggs somehow going to get an interception even after he gets burnt for 150 yards. I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys, though, in this game.
So that's so before we move on, I need to make my pick. I'm going to go 49ers. I'm going to go 49ers win this football game. And I'll bet you double up or nothing that money that you owed me from a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Here on the podcast. Again, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. As you can see scrolling right there on the bottom of the screen, if you're tuned in on Spotify or YouTube, you can see this video, TCM_pod. TCM_pod is the place for you guys to check out each and every game we tweet out. We post clips to YouTube and post each of our shows to YouTube and clips on Twitter as well. So don't miss out on that. Our third item of the Big Three, brought to you by Information on Demand. Arizona Cardinals take on the Los Angeles Rams on Monday night. Going to be a great game, 8:15 kickoff. Rams a 4-point favorite. I don't know how. I don't think Matt Stafford can handle this. Is this his first ever playoff game?
No. He's been in a wild card.
Okay.
But they lost.
There we go. I think that the track record continues. I don't think that Matthew Stafford wins this football game against the Arizona Cardinals, but I don't know. OBJ is playing very well. I also saw a stat that Matthew Stafford has 6 picks or something like that in his last 4 games.
Yeah.
3 or 4 games. He's averaging 2 a game over the last 3 games, which is unreal. Where's Von Miller? That's the question.
Nowhere.
Von Miller got the paycheck and just took a sideline break. I am impressed with OBJ. I think OBJ proved me wrong. He's very good. I'm not going to say he's Mike Evans good, but he's definitely a game changer. And he's going to have to show up big in this game. He's going to have fun this week. Arizona has a solid defense. Hopefully Kyler Murray has a big game. I know that he needs to win this game for his Arizona Cardinals. Coming off of a loss last week against the Seattle Seahawks at home this week, Arizona tries to bounce back on the road against the Rams. I think it really is a coin flip. Rams a 4-point favorite again. Spence, who do you got?
I've got the Rams in this game by a good amount. I think their defense is just going to be too hot to handle for the Cardinals. I don't know if D-Hop's going to play. We still don't know if J.J. Watt's going to play. He did come back from IR, but he still hasn't practiced yet. So I've got the Rams in this game. They're the home team. I'm just going to stick with the home teams throughout this whole first round in the playoffs in the wild card. So I got the Rams by a good amount over the Cardinals, probably 10+.
I'll say Cardinals squeak one out. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to go high-scoring as in probably 35-31, my prediction. Arizona prevails in this football game. Over the Rams on the road would be cool. I don't know. I would like to see Kyler Murray do something, and you've called him a toddler a couple of times here on the podcast, and I want him to prove you wrong. And also make you regret not buying that rookie card a few weeks ago.
I don't think I'm going to be proven wrong. I mean, whenever he does run the football, if he gets hit, he looks like a toddler that just stole something like a cookie off a table. I just don't think that he's going to be able to compete against Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, and the rest of the Rams defense. And they just signed Eric Weddle, former safety, for the Chargers. The
guy hasn't played in a year.
It doesn't matter.
He's not going to do anything.
He's one of the smartest players of all time. I think he'll be fine back there at safety.
I don't know. He took a whole year off.
Don't matter.
I don't think he's going to be a game changer in this game. Maybe 2 weeks if they somehow beat Arizona, which they will not.
They're going to beat Arizona.
There's no shot.
The Cardinals are just not. There's no way the Cardinals win this game.
I think you're going to think otherwise.
D-Hop's not even going to play.
They don't need D-Hop.
They got A.J. Green, who doesn't even look for the football in the red zone.
Yeah, but they got Kyler, who's running like he just stole cookies out of the cookie jar.
Yeah, but he just lost to the Seattle Seahawks and the Indianapolis Colts back-to-back weeks to just make them the 4th seed in the NFC. I mean, they fell apart down the stretch. I don't think they're going to be any better in the playoffs.
James Conner might have a good game.
He can score touchdowns. That's about it.
He can score inside the 10 for sure. But how will the Cardinals stack up against Aaron Darnold? Because that guy is still an absolute tank. I saw some numbers. His EPA percentage is still number 1 in the league. The guy just takes on whatever it takes to get past that offensive line. The guy does. I don't know how he does it, but Aaron Donald. Did I say Darnold?
You said Aaron Donald.
God. Okay. Anyway, so the Big Three brought to you by Information On Demand, informationondemand.net. Check them out for pre-employment background screening services. Transitioning to Shankarooski of the Week. Shankarooski segment brought to you by thedripandIce.com. They're working on some new merchandise, so we'll keep you guys posted when they do release that. But I walked into the Mountainside Parcel and Post studio today and knew I forgot something, and the confidence level was a little bit in the dumps. Thought about it, looked down, and I'm not wearing my Drip and Ice. Yeah, fortunately I am. Not wearing the Drip and Ice hoodie today. So, and you're not either.
Nope.
So I could tell that we're both a little bit off today and really regret that. But the Shankarooski segment brought to you by The Drip and Ice. Check them out on Instagram, The Drip and Ice. Forget the G. They don't even need it. They're so cool. Nope. But anyways, again, another great week across the National Football League. 6 missed kicks. 4 of those were field goals. 2 of those were extra points. The numbers continue to get better.
Yeah.
Kickers, again, as I said, week 18, they've started to figure out
this
what
was
their
my theory week 4.
Go out. Yeah, you did say that.
I just thought they would get better.
And I don't know if it has to do with the cold. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really do not understand. But they obviously have checked in practice. They've watched some more film on how to kick the ball correctly, how to watch out for not hitting the laces, how to stare at the same spot, on the field goal post and say, hey, every kick, no matter what stadium I'm in, no matter what the weather is, no matter what the situation is, look at this spot. Because even if the stadium's different, the field goal posts are always the same. They're yellow. They're split apart the exact same way. Look at the same spot on each and every field goal post, and you should be able to knock the kicks. And I guess that's what NFL kickers have started to figure out, and they're starting to make their kicks. But one guy that stood out to me who's only missed 2 kicks this year, but they've been crucial kicks, Dustin Hopkins for the Chargers.
Well, the reason he's only missed 2 kicks is because the Chargers are like not to take field goals, and it really ended up screwing them over like we all thought it would at the end of their season. So
Dustin Hopkins is our Shankarooski Kicker of the Week, Shankarooski Award winner of the week, right here on TCM Pod.
I've got one as well.
Ryan Suckup?
Nope. Comes from a Las Vegas prison league. Henry Ruggs is playing in. His kicker on his squad missed a game-winning field goal, and he eventually got shanked at the end of that game. So that is my Shankarooski.
Yeah, that was good. Okay, we'll give you that. Again, Shankarooski segment brought to you by...
Head coach of that team is actually John Gruden. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, as he was waiting...
It's a pretty good squad.
Some more news to develop regarding his situation, his lawsuit of the
They
NFL.
are awaiting Watson. He'll be there eventually.
The Shankarooski segment brought to you by Drip and Ice. Check them out, thedripandIce.com. Forget the G as they bring you guys our Shankarooski segment of the week. Pretty awesome stuff there. I know that we've got a lot going on in terms of the NFL. Black Monday happened on Monday, of course, of this week. Coaches all over the NFL were canned. And I kind of got a cool segment here. NFL coaching sweepstakes. That was better.
I like carousel.
See, I sent you some pre-recording text, and I wish you would have corrected me there.
I don't read text messages. I don't answer phone calls. I'm off the grid.
Sound like Kanye West there. But a lot of things going on across the National Football League, and I think that everybody can agree on one of those coach firings. Brian Flores getting fired from the Miami Dolphins. 9-win season gets canned. Let's go ahead and recap everything that's gone on this week regarding coaches. Joe Judge let go from the New York Giants, rightfully so. Thumbs up. The guy's terrible. He spent 7 minutes talking about how his guys wanted to come back to play for the New York Giants and join him with his organization. We talked about this last week. You don't say that. Yeah. If anybody wants to come back, you don't have to say, hey, this and that. It's like saying, hey, I'm the best to ever do something. If you're the best, everybody knows it. You don't have to go out and say, I'm the best. Jacksonville fired Urban Meyer a few weeks ago, of course. They're still looking for their official head coach, hiring a lot of options, and I think I have an ideal pick for them. I will say, top of my head, it's going to be Byron Leftwich of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, offensive coordinator. I think that happens. Denver fired Vic Fangio, and Fangio, they fired him. Good reason, too. The dude has a terrible track record the last 3 years with the Denver Broncos. Of course, they've had some inconsistent quarterback play between Teddy Two Gloves and, I'm going to blank.
Drew Lock,
who is obviously not locked in as the quarterback of the Denver Broncos. He's out, as Pat McAfee would probably say. But again, they still have a solid defense. They have some weapons around the quarterback. They're missing a quarterback. They would be a decent playoff.
They would be in the playoffs.
They would,
100%.
Yeah.
Their defense is top 2.
And they have some weapons on offense. They have some serious receivers. They've got a good running back there in Denver. So they're missing a quarterback and maybe one or two pieces in their playoff team.
Yeah, Russell Wilson. Depending on if they get a good coach, Russell Wilson may go there.
So Joe Judge of the New York Giants got canned. Jacksonville's Urban Meyer was canned a few weeks ago. Denver fired their head coach. Chicago got rid of Matt Nagy. The guy's terrible. I think that he had a job for a year too long.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible coach. Drafted his quarterback and kind of threw him in the fire a little bit too early. Then they bring in Andy Dalton was there. Take him out, throw Fields in, then pull Fields, put Andy back in, even though Fields is a little bit beat up. Still, they throw Fields into the mix, and Fields can't handle it. They threw him in a little bit too early. Matt Nagy out as head coach of the Chicago Bears. Mike Zimmer fired from Minnesota. He was one of those guys where I felt like he was never a terrible coach for the Vikings, but he just couldn't get over that hump. It was
He's a defensive coordinator. That's it.
Probably a great.
He's a very great.
Yeah.
He'll be a defensive coordinator somewhere this year.
Yeah, no doubt. And
maybe the Bucs, because we are going to lose Todd Bowles.
Unless they promote Larry Foote, former linebacker, who's on the squad as an assistant coach, and that's who they're saying is probably going to get that job, according to my sources. But either way, Matt Nagy's out. Mike Zimmer out. Again, he was a 9-win guy for most of his tenure with the Minnesota Vikings. Now, what will they do with quarterback Kirk Cousins? I think he still has a few years left on his contract. He's still getting paid like a top 5, top 10 guy. Not terrible, not great. He can't win primetime games. And then, of course, Brian Flores of the Miami Dolphins got canned earlier this week. That was a big shocker. Everybody across the National Football League looked at this and thought, why did he get fired? He's 3-0 against Bill Belichick over his last 3 matchups with the New England Patriots.
And they won 8 of their last 9 games.
Unreal, yeah. And they have a guy that they don't even believe in at quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. And so we'll get a little bit more into that here in a moment. But the final 2 coaches, John Gruden was let go earlier in the year for good reason of the Las Vegas Raiders. And then Texans fired their one-and-done head coach, David Culley. So we've got, 7 guys that got fired this year, and these teams are looking for head coaches. New York Giants, Jacksonville Jaguars, Denver Broncos, Chicago Bears, Minnesota Vikings, Miami Dolphins, Las Vegas Raiders, and Houston Texans.
No, Raiders may keep their special teams coordinator. I would keep him.
I would too, but nothing's set in stone. That's still, that is still an opening. Technically,
I think he's set.
Still technically an
if
opening.
they win a playoff game on Saturday, he's there.
Technically still an opening, but you're right.
It's not. They got a head coach right now.
He's
the rest
an
of them
interim
do
head
not.
coach.
Yeah, but the rest of them do not have a head coach at all because they're not in the playoffs.
So are we ruling out the Raiders out of this question?
I think we should.
Okay, we'll rule out the Raiders. So
because they would probably be the best place to go.
So
if they do fire their coach,
I don't know.
They will.
Derek Carr might be out. So here we go. We're gonna have you lead this segment. It's the NFL coaching sweepstakes carousel, whatever you want to call it. I think either
carousel.
Or NFL coaching. NFL coaching carousel. There we go. As we have 6 openings across the NFL. So let's rank this, Spence. I'm going to let you go first. New York Giants, Jacksonville Jaguars, Denver Broncos, Chicago Bears, Miami Dolphins, Minnesota Vikings, and then Houston Texans. Rank those from worst.
Is that 7?
That's 6.
Okay, 6.
From worst.
We got rid of the Raiders.
Yep. From worst spot to where you'd like to be. You're taking the worst. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so the worst New York Giants.
And why?
Daniel Jones is your quarterback for at least another year. He's absolutely awful. Yeah, your backup quarterback's Mike Glennon, who's only known for having a long neck. Your defense is not good. Saquon Barkley is basically done. The dude's cooked. So the Giants are the worst. Second would probably be the Texans, even though they do have Davis Mills. They're probably still going to draft a quarterback next year or bring one in free agency because Deshaun Watson is out. He might go to the Dolphins now if the new head coach doesn't like Tua. But number 5 would be the Texans. 4, run me through the names one more time.
Giants, Jacksonville, Denver, Chicago,
4
Minnesota.
would be Jacksonville. I think that they're going to have to go with a safe hire in Jacksonville. I think they're going to have to go with someone that is established as a head coach before.
Like
At
Harbaugh?
first, I thought it would be Byron Leftwich, but after more thought put into it, I think Todd Bowles would be better fit for them. He has been a head coach before. They can't go with a coach who really hasn't been a head coach in the league before with the franchise that they have. 4, give me the ones I haven't named again.
I think you've got Giants. You've named Houston, Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm. Who are the 4 I haven't named?
Oh, my bad. So you've got Denver, you've got Chicago, you've got Minnesota, and you've got, that's it.
Okay, so Chicago is the worst out of those options. You have Justin Fields at quarterback. He basically made no progression over the season because his head coach is an absolute bum. Their offense was just so horribly assembled together. You had a carousel between him and Andy Dalton throughout the whole year, so that's a bad one. Then you have the Dolphins at number 2. I think the Dolphins are a good choice to go to, but Tua I do not believe in as a great quarterback in the league at the moment. And then my number one team is the Minnesota Vikings. You have Justin Jefferson, Harrison Smith. You have Eric Kendricks at linebacker, Danielle Hunter at defensive end, Everson Griffin at defensive end if he comes back. You have Pat Pete as well. I mean, their secondary is much better. So I'm going to go with the Vikings at number 1 just because I think their defense is set in stone at the moment. They've got a lot of smart, older players on their defense. Your offense is led by Kirk Cousins. He's an established quarterback in the league. He's top 15. You can win games with him. Then you have a top 10 receiver in Justin Jefferson. And then Adam Thielen will be back in full form next year. Yeah, you have Dalvin Cook at running back. That team is the best choice to go to over the season. Did I miss any teams?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you got them. Because we rolled out the Raiders. You said that they're going to bring back...
Yeah, so 6 was the...
Dolphins?
No, worst. Who was the worst?
Oh, you said worst was Giants.
So Giants at 6, Texans at 5,
Yep.
Jaguars at 4, Bears at 3, and then you have the Dolphins at 2 and Vikings at 1. Vikings are the best choice in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go, obviously, Minnesota, the best option as well. I think that, as you said, they're pretty much established. They're one game away, one victory away from being a playoff team. You get a new head coach that can work with a guy, and it has to be an experienced coach to go there. You're not going to bring in a first-year coach to hop in and take over the Minnesota Vikings, in my opinion.
Well, they've been a defensive-minded team for like the past 7 years under Zimmer, so I think they might go with an offensive coordinator guy, you could see Byron Leftwich going to the Vikings.
Yeah, and I'm also hearing that Kellen Moore of the Dallas Cowboys.
That is so stupid.
Yeah, he's had one
decent season.
Yeah,
with a loaded offense.
Yep. Arguably, on paper, top 3 offense in the NFL,
yeah,
for sure. On paper, when you look at names and
just offense,
yes. 100%. So I'll go Minnesota, the number 1 destination. If I was to take a vacation and eventually become the head coach, Minnesota would be my number 1 option. We might end up having a very similar list.
Probably
here.
the exact same.
Probably so.
I get
Minnesota number 2, Miami number 2.
Yeah.
Because I find it crazy that you went 9-7 with a guy that you didn't even believe in. If you guys did not know, Brian Flores fired, of course, that's why we're talking about it here. But Brian Flores said earlier this season to Tua, he said, I wish we would have drafted Mac Jones.
I don't not want to be here.
Exactly. Perfect. Who was it that said that a few months ago?
Tua.
That's right, yeah. Okay, so if you guys were watching a game, I would say 8 weeks ago, Tua was supposedly healthy. He was healthy. He had been healthy for a while. They thought that Tua was going to start the ball game. Jacoby Brissett starts the ball game. I can't remember what game for the Dolphins. Plays well. He goes down. He gets hurt.
Yeah.
Tua, who was supposedly healthy, and they said was 100%, gets thrown into the game, does pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Then, all of a sudden, Brissett, who you thought had a serious injury, hops back in and takes over, and Tua was just pulled just like that.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't think much of it, but I was kind of like, man, poor Tua. I mean, you see that the guy that replaced you go into the football game, get hurt, Tua goes in, he gets taken right back out after one drive.
Yeah.
And then Brissett gets to play the rest of the game, and he's hobbled. He can't even run.
And
a
I
play.
really don't blame Flores. I just don't think Tua is a viable option at quarterback if you want to win games in this league. I mean, the defense is great for Miami. They have a decent receiving core. Their running game kicked it up later on in the season, but Tua at quarterback, a lefty, can't really scramble as well as you think he might be able to, like he could in college. I just don't think he's a great quarterback, so they're definitely going to bring in someone, maybe Deshaun Watson. He was supposed to come in this offseason, but the Texans vetoed the trade, and then the league got involved with all of his scandals and lawsuits coming at him. So if he can get cleared to play next season, I think he would be the option for the Dolphins.
So for me, coaching carousel, I would go to Minnesota, Miami. Number 3 for me, I'm going to swap it up. You had Chicago.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go Jacksonville because expectation there is a lot lower. If you come in and win 5 games, you're okay. If you go to Chicago and you win 5 games, you're already on the hot seat, easy. And that's my personal opinion. But Jacksonville, you do have Trevor Lawrence. A lot of talk across the NFL and from scouts, coaches, everybody that's a little bit worried with Trevor's ability to read a defense at the NFL level. Listening to national radio earlier this week, and that's kind of the knock on Trevor Lawrence.
Well, that's
as of
a big
right
problem
now.
with every rookie quarterback coming in the league because college offense is just so much more simplified than NFL offense, and then the defense. A lot of the teams don't even teach their quarterback how to make a second read. It's basically just a one-read system. So
I'm going to go Jacksonville over Chicago if I were a head coach and could go anywhere. I'm going to go Chicago next at number 4. Chicago at 4. And again, Justin Fields, I think, has a pretty good future ahead of him.
yeah,
If they can get an established rushing attack there, obviously consistency with head coaching and just believing in his team because Matt Nagy absolutely did not believe in his guys. And there were some interviews with Justin Fields and other defensive players on the Chicago Bears post-game, and they were kind of like, hey, we kind of did what we thought was right, and then you look at what the coach called it, it was kind of a little bit flip-flop several times this year in which you're like, hey, they kind of went against the coach, and it worked out.
It worked.
So I don't blame them there. Matt Nagy out. Again, Houston, a better option than New York because the Giants are just at the bottom. You've got Saquon, who can't stay healthy, who his shelf life is nearly over in my opinion.
You also have a bottom 5 offensive line, so I mean,
bottom 5.
They don't really have any key pieces. And then Kenny Golladay got signed to a $19 million deal over the offseason, had 0 touchdowns on the season. So
yeah, absolutely terrible.
They're not looking good.
And the media there in New York is
and then the Texans have so much cap space to play with over the next couple of years because they have literally no one. So I don't think the Texans is a bad option.
Yeah, for Texans being a number 5 on my desired list, that's a very solid number 5. And more than likely any other year, that's a top 3 option.
Yeah.
But you got some good options with Minnesota, of course. Miami, you've got good options with Chicago, potentially Jacksonville. New York Giants, just absolutely bottom of the barrel. I would not go to the Giants if I'm a head coach. I don't know of any coach that would fit in there with the New York Giants. I mean, of course there is one, but I don't know if
Brian Flores. I could definitely see him go to the Giants.
Why is that?
He's established. They can't go with someone who's new. If they sign Kellen Moore, the league's a joke. You can't. You got to. If you're a team like the Giants or the Jaguars, you've got to go with someone that's been there, done that. I mean, you can't go with an offensive coordinator that's never been a head coach. The only option that I could see is Byron Leftwich, but that's not a good option for them. I think he's going to go to a team that's more offensive minded.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And again, obviously, you look at Flores, he didn't even believe in Tua, and he was able to win 9 games. So, inconsistent quarterback play in Miami for years, and he had a 10-win year last year.
Yeah, their defense has been so good under him. So, I think, actually, if I'm going to go back, I'm going to say Flores goes to the Vikings. He's a defensive-minded coach. The Vikings have a good defense, a good offense if he believes in Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is a run-of-the-mill, decent quarterback who can win you some games. So he'll get you in the playoffs if you have good coaching.
Without question. And it'll be interesting to see all these signings and who fills the vacancies. And there might be, again, offense or defensive coordinator that gets a job that didn't deserve the job and is really setting themselves up to fail.
Yeah.
One guy that I think is kind of I'm forgetting the word here, a dark horse for a head coaching candidate, Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn is
probably
he had a good
going
season with the Cowboys. I could see him. I think he has to have one more good season to be up there because, I mean, Eric Bieniemy for the Kansas City Chiefs, the offensive coordinator, has been like a top coaching option for these teams that need a new head coach for the past 3 years, and he still hasn't been signed. So, and the Chiefs have a top offense every single year in the league. So I think Dan Quinn's a lot like him. But Dan Quinn has been a head coach before, went to the Super Bowl, then the GM and him were in cahoots and just drafted terribly. And the Falcons ended the season with 18 sacks under Dan Quinn's former players. So I don't know if I want Dan Quinn leading my team yet.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. I just think that he's a dark horse that could possibly get another job, a head coaching gig in the National Football League. What is it?
A light horse.
You sure?
For him.
Oh, okay. There we go. Oh, okay. All right, that's good. Again, that's our NFL coaching carousel.
Yep.
Sweepstakes.
MCC,
I got to throw it in there. I like it. Moving on now, and again, stay tuned. We've saved our hot takes for last because it's playoff time, baby. It's playoff season.
It's cold in here, and it's getting ready to set a fire.
But not yet. We're starting to heat up a little bit. We're first going to talk about the playoff panel lightning round.
Yeah.
Playoff panel lightning round, starting off with the Raiders at Cincinnati Bengals.
For the playoffs, let's call it a playoff deep dive. PDD.
You know what? Maybe we just need to...
Because this has got to be recapped perfectly.
Okay. Since we're talking about these games, and that's kind of what our hot take is around.
Yeah, talk about your hot take in the game we're talking about. So
Perfect.
Let's go.
Let me start off. We're going in order.
Let's talk, in order of the games being played.
Right.
So Saturday, Sunday.
First game played on Saturday. Las Vegas Rams at Las Vegas Raiders at the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals red-hot offense. They've got 3 star-studded receivers, a hell of a quarterback, and Joey Burrow. Great run, or I wouldn't say great running back, but a very good running back in Joe Mixon.
He's good.
And consistently great. Good running back. Pretty decent defense there in Cincinnati. Nothing that's going to make you fall over or anything like that, but their offense can carry them to 40 points in a game. Joe Burrow can do his thing. Jamar Chase, we've seen it, can put up 189 to 225 yards in a game. He's done it twice this year. Dude's unreal. He's also been Rookie of the Week 6 times this year in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase is insane. Bengals are a 6-point favorite, so the spread has climbed.
That's wild.
Spread has climbed over the Las Vegas Raiders, and that's where I come in with my hot take. Boom, Raiders win this football game. Give me 10. 10-point win for the Las Vegas Raiders. And you guys might think, okay, you look at the records. I guess the Raiders are one game. They're tied up 10-7, but the Raiders have been more inconsistent than the Bengals. When you think about these two teams, the Bengals have a red-hot offense. Everybody loves offense. Unless you're an old-school guy, then you love and appreciate defense. But this is Derek Carr's shot in the National Football League's playoffs. This is Derek Carr's shot to shine. He posted a picture the other day of him following a bad injury, I guess, a couple of years ago. Now he's getting ready for the playoffs. He was running through the tunnel. This guy is locked in, and this may be Derek Carr's only playoff game of his career. The guy's been in the league 8 years. I don't think it is, but it could be. And I think that Derek Carr shocks the world. Obviously, Joe Burrow has never been to the playoffs, and I think that Derek Carr wins this game on the road in Cincinnati. 4:30 kickoff this Saturday. Again, 10-point victory. I'm going to say maybe a little bit more than 10 points, actually. I'll say 35-24. 35-24. Raiders prevail. And also, get this, you have to rely on kickers in the playoffs. Kickers have not been too consistent when you talk about the Bengals, but when you talk about the Las Vegas Raiders, Daniel Carlson, unreal. The guy is money. Daniel Carlson is going to be perfect this week. I'm not going to say an end game because he will shank one, but end game, Daniel Carlson will go off for the Raiders this week. Again, Raiders win by 10 on the road, a 6-point underdog to the Cincinnati Bengals. That's my hot take. Write it down. Bet the house on it. Whatever you guys want to do. And tweet me following the game at the Chris Mathis, or even better, at TCM Pod. Follow us on YouTube at TCM Pod, or Instagram or Twitter.
Well, Rich Bisaccia is the Raiders head coach, and he was the special teams coordinator before John Gruden got fired. So that is why they are the best special teams group in the entire league. And then you have Daniel Carlson hitting the game-winning field goal to put them into the playoffs over the Chargers on Sunday night. So I've got the Raiders in this game as well. I think Max Crosby is going to be too much to handle for the Bengals offensive line that still hasn't gotten any better. Joe Burrow is just getting the ball out faster to Jamar Chase and the rest of his hot rod offense. But I've got the Raiders in this game. I just feel like this is going to be a defensive type of game for both teams, and I think the Raiders defense is going to outperform the Bengals defense, and I've got the Raiders by 7. I think the spread is in the opposite direction of what it should be. It should be Raiders 6. They should have the 6-point spread in their favor.
Or even that, it should be maybe half because the Bengals are the home team. Maybe give them a 3-point advantage. Something lesser
even
than
Joe
6.
Burrow doesn't like playing in Cincinnati. We've heard that. So no one wants to be in Cincinnati.
Yeah, nobody wants to be there. Not even Jamar Chase, not even Joey Burrow. That's our first game, and that was my hot take, that the Raiders win on the road against the Bengals. Spencer's hot take, has still yet to be mentioned, so that means it's coming up. Is it this game?
No.
New England Patriots play against the Bills. We already picked that one.
Yeah,
I got the Bills winning this game. That's an 8:15 kickoff this Saturday in the playoffs. It's postseason, baby. Anybody can win. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's the third time we've seen these two teams match up, go head-to-head this year. Mac Jones against Josh Allen. Moving on to Sunday, again, going in chronological order in terms of kickoff time. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will host the Philadelphia Eagles. Bucs an 8-point favorite in this game. This game is going to be scary to me. It is going to rain in Raymond James Stadium in Tampa this Sunday. We'll see how that affects the game. It might affect the rushing attack. If so, Jalen Hurts is now a one-dimensional quarterback, and by that, he's a subpar one-dimensional quarterback with his arm strength. But anyways, Buccaneers 8-point favorite at home. Bucs coming off a pretty good win last week. Would like to see them pick up another victory here. No shame here with Pat Johnson, who will be on our show. He'll be on the podcast. Eagles rookie. Take a look out for Pat Johnson of the Eagles. He will be on the podcast here after the season. Wish him the best. Wouldn't mind if he had a decent play. Wouldn't be upset. Yeah. But the Buccaneers will prevail. 8 points, I don't know. I think that maybe 8 points because they want to prove that they're legitimate. But in terms of if the Eagles are able to play up to their potential on the road, I think it's a little bit closer than 8. Give me the Bucs by 5 points. Nick Crouch said he'd bet the house the Bucs win by 14+. He's betting the house. Nick Crouch,
I like that,
on the Buccaneers against the Eagles. Spence, who do you got and why?
Well, I've got the Buccaneers in this game. I mean, the Eagles are the top rushing attack in the NFL over the last 8 weeks, but the Buccaneers defense has been top 2 in rushing defense over the last 3 seasons under Todd Bowles. It is going to be raining. Down. I don't care. Vita Vea is the defensive tackle. Ndamukong Suh is going to be playing. Jason Pierre-Paul is going to be back. Levante David's going to be back. Shaq Barrett's going to be back. We're getting healthy at the right time of the season this year, just like we did last season. And I believe that the Eagles defense isn't going to be able to keep up with the Buccaneers offense. I don't care if it's raining. If we can get any type of ground game going with Leonard Fournette returning this week and Keyshawn Vaughn really picking up play over the last couple of weeks, Giovanni Bernard coming back, Le'Veon Bell's another running back. We have 4 decent running backs in the backfield with Leonard Fournette leading them. And then you have Tom Brady to go at quarterback. So I really just don't think the Eagles defense is going to be able to keep up with the Buccaneers' pace of offense, and the Bucs are going to win this game. I'm going to go with Nick Crouch on this one. The Bucs are going to win this game by 14+.
Moving on with our lightning round playoff panel pick here on the Chris Mathis podcast at TCM Pod on all social medias. San Francisco 49ers at Dallas. I have 49ers in this game, even though they are a 3-point underdog in Dallas at 4:30 on Sunday.
I've got the Dallas Cowboys in this game. They're the home team. I've gone home team every single game so far. I don't really believe in Jimmy G. I think Dak Prescott's a better quarterback. I think the Cowboys defense plays pretty good. Micah Parsons returning from COVID-19, the Omicron variant. So I've got the Cowboys in this game. I think Micah Parsons is going to set the defensive ends in this game and just pressure Jimmy G the entire game. And there goes the podcast sign. Be careful, everyone. It may fall on you. But I've got the Cowboys in this game.
It's weird that just fell off. It might be heating up because the sticker just fell off.
Well, the ghost is getting ready to start a fire, so we need to be quick.
Okay, all right, that makes sense then. So then moving on now to Sunday Night Football. We're going to see Big Ben play one last game. Pittsburgh Steelers in Kansas City as they take on the Chiefs. Chiefs a 13-point favorite. Patrick Mahomes is excited. Big Ben has admitted that more than likely they don't have any shot in the dogfight here against the Chiefs, and Spencer looks off into the distance.
Yeah.
What do you see?
I'm just thinking to myself, I'm going to say it, fuck you, Brandon Staley. This should be the Chargers playing this game. I want to see Justin Herbert. I don't want to see Big Ben Roethlisberger. But then again, after thinking about it, after looking off into the distance, I see locker number 7, and that reminds me of Big Ben in his prime, avoiding the defensive lineman. And I've got Big Ben in this game over the Chiefs. I think Ben Roethlisberger is going to kill this game. And the reason I'm going with the Steelers over the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football is because Juju Smith is returning this week from IR after being out the entire season. And apparently Jackson Mahomes is going to be there because it is a Chiefs home game. And the two are going to come into cahoots and film a TikTok before the game. Chase Claypool is also going to be there. And I think that's just going to throw off Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be pissed. He's going to say, why is my brother filming TikToks with the opposing team right now? and that's just going to fire. That's going to set a fire under Patrick Mahomes, make him throw a lot of interceptions to a great Steelers defense that has absolutely carried them the whole season. I think Big Ben Roethlisberger has his biggest game of the season. I think Roethlisberger is going to show us why he is a 39-year-old quarterback still in the NFL, and the Steelers are going to win this game by 3. It's going to be insane, everybody. Strap your boots up. Randy Arozarena's already got his on for the playoffs. So Steelers in this game by 3.
That's a hot take. That probably is the hottest hot take right here on the Chris Mathis podcast that we've had all season long. The Steelers, again, a 13-point underdog on the road in Kansas City.
13 points. Wow.
Now, after you say that, I think that you're more than likely absolutely wrong, but the whole Jackson Mahomes thing, meeting up with Juju before the game,
this is a lot, yeah. Yep.
And we've seen it. Pat Mahomes doesn't deal with adversity too well.
And you've seen my correlations come up big time over the past couple of weeks. I mean,
look at last
Justin
week.
Herbert ate too much turkey. They lose.
Screwed up, yeah.
I predicted that. You look at last week with the Jaguars fans dressing up as clowns coming into their own stadium. I said that they would beat the Colts and knock them out of the playoffs. They did that. The Raiders and Chargers should have tied. They didn't do that. But I was so close, and Brandon Staley is our Stooge of the Week. I hate you, Brandon Staley. I think you are the dumbest analytical-minded coach I've ever seen in my life. And if I was the Chargers general manager, I would fire you. I don't care.
It's hot in here, man. And there was some correlation there with the logo falling off of our sticker 3M patch up there on that door. So definitely makes a lot of sense. I guess you're radiating right now. That might be also why you have on the sunglasses too. The hoodie protect me from the UV radiation.
Or it could be the KGB. I did say I did say that I didn't really agree with what Putin was doing in Russia at the moment.
Just leave it.
And that could be what it is. So if the KGB comes knocking, I'll be running.
Yeah, I would be too. Well, actually, I'd probably point them in the right direction.
No.
But anyways,
for you.
It's hot, man. It's a hot take right here on the podcast. You can only get it here. And you guys think Spencer's crazy. That's cool. They call him Savage Spence for a reason. Dad bod Spence for a reason. But he's been right on these crazy hot takes more times than not. Again, he picked Jacksonville to prevail last week over the Indianapolis Colts.
Yep.
And they did that, and they did it convincingly. The Colts looked awful. They no longer believe in Carson Wentz as the quarterback. I mean, they're all in shambles out there in Indianapolis. The home team, and not even the home team, but the favorite to win the national championship, Indianapolis, lost last week on Monday. Things are going south in Indianapolis, and
another thing
all
that goes along with this game is Patrick Mahomes' love of ketchup. And where do the Pittsburgh Steelers play? Heinz Field, the creator of the ketchup. So I think that's also going to play into Patrick Mahomes having one of his worst performances of the season, which is saying a lot because he started off the season so terribly. I think the Steelers are going to take advantage with Big Ben Roethlisberger. He's had the whole week to watch as much film on whatever X-rated website he's been on this weekend. So I've got the Steelers in this game by 3.
I know a big-time Steelers fan, Kenny, is placing some money on this game too. But moving on now. That's a very hot take. That's a very hot take.
Yep.
I like the whole idea if everything leaks out and Jackson Mahomes did meet up with Juju Smith-Schuster before the game.
Oh, they will.
The Steelers will win this game.
And Chase Claypool.
But traditionally speaking, I've got the Chiefs winning this game by 21. Moving on now to Monday Night Football. The Cardinals play against the Rams. We spoke on that earlier. I have the Cardinals, and you've got the Rams in this game.
I've got the Rams in this game, man. Matt Stafford playing his first playoff game since like 2015 where they lost to the Packers in the wild card game. I think Stafford's going to get his first win. I mean, hopefully down the stretch he'll play a lot better than he did at the very end of the season where he absolutely sucked. OBJ has been dominating as of recent. He scored a touchdown in almost every single game that I've watched the Rams over the past 5 weeks. So I've got the Rams in this game. I think their defense is too much to handle for the toddler running away in Kyler Murray. So I think Aaron Donald is going to have a field day. I think Ramsey's going to get a pick, and I think the Rams are going to win this game by 14.
Okay, there you go. That's our NFL playoff panel lightning round right here on TCM Pod. And I'm sure you guys think that the hot take was worth the wait. Also, just got a cool message from a guy that I met at a local coffee shop. Plugged the podcast, gave him a sticker, and he said that he was going to start this whole sticker fabrication on the back of his car.
Nice.
And he said he would do that sometime soon. I didn't know he'd do it today. He literally put first sticker. Shout out to our guy Joshua for putting the sticker on the back.
Talking about James Charles.
Yeah, right.
Damn.
Putting a sticker on the back of his car. So if you guys see a white Honda with a TCM pod on the back, give him a honk. Super cool guy. And if it happens to be somebody else driving a white Honda, but they've got the TCM pod sticker, honk again, because they're awesome. They're great people, and we appreciate all of you guys joining us here on the Chris Mathis podcast. Again, great week for some playoff football. Follow us on Twitter, TCM pod, Instagram, TCM pod, and YouTube as well. We've got all of our videos up, all of our shows up. If you guys missed out on the Talk to Him Tuesday edition of the Chris Mathis podcast with a very talented Corey Crouch, digital creator, you need to check that out on Spotify. The Chris Mathis podcast. Give us 5 stars. Hit the 3 dots. Besides that, did you?
I rated it 5 stars.
Okay, so you were the 50th person to do that. So everybody keep liking it. Keep giving us those 5 stars. There's no other option. It's only 5 stars, baby. All day. Follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube, and big time shout out. We hit 1,000 listeners with this podcast. So
Beautiful,
pretty
guys.
awesome stuff here.
You guys are doing the great job.
And great things are happening with the podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
You got to keep planting the seed. Eventually your team's going to grow, and you're going to make the playoffs like Nick Sirianni did for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, we played great over the whole season, and we're in the playoffs versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we planted the seed. You guys are planting the seed, listening to our podcast every week, and that's what we're doing here.
Boom. That's it.
And also, another thing, rebrand for Savage Spence. It is now at DadBodSpence on Twitter. Please give us a follow. Of course, me over Chris, I mean, for obvious reasons. So follow DadBodSpence if you want to see some hot takes, like what I've got this weekend over the Steelers-Chiefs game with the Steelers beating the Chiefs.
Tune in next week right here to TCM Pod.
Tune in, baby.